And welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And tonight we are going to talk about 2022's M3GAN. I was hoping I never saw it. So this is the first time watch for me. I just watched it today. I watched all three of these today. The three that I'm doing, two of them I'd never seen before. And, well, no, that's not true. This is the only one I've never seen before. The other one I haven't seen in 20 years. And The Passion of Darkly Noon I've seen many, many times, even on that shitty DVD I had before I got this. But yeah, this is a first time watch. I waited and was hoping that they would release an unrated version of it to Blu-ray, which they did. I'm really, really tired of the PG-13 horror. I just don't like PG-13 horror that much. I mean, sure, I have a few, but, but we'll talk about that. So yes, M3GAN from 2022. Directed by Gerard Johnstone, written by Akela Cooper, and James Wan, starring Allison Williams, Violet McGraw, and Ronny Chieng. Now, this is M3GAN. I, of course, watched the unrated. I didn't watch the theatrical, so even though I know there was only seconds here and there, a few seconds here, a few seconds there. I know that. It's like a minute difference. But you do know. Have you ever went and looked at those movies that you heard were cut all to hell? I don't know. Friday the 13th, 5, 6, and 7, for instance. Go look at how much was cut out. Just a couple of minutes. That's all it takes. Add 5 seconds of blood here, a knife through the chest here. That only takes 5 seconds. They cut all of that shit out. Seconds here, seconds there, seconds there. That's all that it takes. It was only like a minute and a half that was cut out of My Bloody Valentine, and it just fucked up a lot of the kills. So, yeah. A few seconds can matter a lot. I really did like this movie. I think its potential was wasted, but okay. So this movie opens with a Perpetual Pets commercial. These little Furby-looking things. Actually, yeah, they do look like my Furbies. I've got a couple Furbies. I will get them for you. They kind of look a really lot like this. And no, I'm not going to turn them on, because if I turned them on, they will start talking. And they won't stop talking. Yes. They kind of look a lot like that. Y'all want to listen to me talk for a change? We can do that. I have an audience now. So, we have this Perpetual Pets commercial, and we see, then we see Katie and her parents in the snow road as they're bitching at each other because, you should have put chains on the tires and stuff like that. When they are hit by a snowplow. Well, that wasn't very cool. So her parents were killed, and then we are taken to Funky headquarters, where we're introduced to Gemma, that's the mother's sister, working on a new animatronic doll. We are introduced to with her team, Jess and Cole. And then we are introduced to David, whom I was very happy to see him killed. He was just like a That was very annoying. He's a very annoying individual. I don't mind seeing annoying individuals killed. I mean, I'm not going to kill you for being annoying, but I'm just saying I'm not going to cry when someone else does. So David comes in. They give him the presentation of this M3GAN thing, this new animatronic doll, and why they're late on giving, bringing a new Furby model to him. And it kind of fails, and they look kind of stupid. In the meantime, it's right about then that Callie hears about the wreck, and she goes to the hospital and agrees to take custody of Katie. So she moves Katie into her house, and they begin to settle in. We're introduced to the therapist, who's a total bitch. I couldn't stand her. She didn't die, did she? That was unfortunate, in my opinion. So they settled in. They finally bond over, they have a little problem, at first, but they finally bond over her job, her creative outlet of building robotics and animatronics. And so they kind of bond over that. And interestingly enough, it's with her input that she kind of sees some answers to her questions, and actually refuses to continue to work on the perpetual pet, and instead works more on M3GAN. Now, they bring David in, who is very pissed off, and they do a presentation at the same time, a little unfairly in my opinion, but she brings Katie to work for this presentation, but Katie doesn't know, and well, I guess that's a good way to get an organic reaction, right, from both Katie and David. But anyway, she brings her into the thing and introduces her to M3GAN. Not only is Katie floored, but David is floored and wants a larger demonstration for the board. And David agrees. So Callie, Gemma, still on the last movie. So Gemma takes M3GAN home with Katie. And they all get, it's really cool. I mean, come on. M3GAN does look really cool. But they, of course, it's not really very long at all before, and I think that's what a lot of these people don't understand about AI, is that when it changes, it's not going to take a long time to change, because you're in unknown territory. So M3GAN pretty much starts acting more than they thought pretty quickly. She quickly begins more adapt behavior, and is the next day, M3GAN and Katie are attacked by that neighbor's dog. That's another couple deaths I didn't mind. That's one of those Neighbors from Hell episodes. But M3GAN kills the dog that night. They do finally present the presentation for the board, which was a very, very good scene, because they had it set up one way, but then Katie breaks down and M3GAN helps her, and none of them expected it, including Gemma and the team. So that was pretty mind-blowing. And, of course, the presentation goes over. The crowd is crying. Yes, we're going to do this, and we need to do it now, So we find out that Kurt is a spy, that little dickwad Kurt, and is actually copying the things, although it never comes to fruition in the movie, but he actually does copy all of the M3GAN files, and you think he's corporate spy and is going to hand it over, which he may have had he gotten the chance. But they sort of leave that like it is. They don't pursue that line, that storyline. So Katie, we see the therapist meet with Katie, and M3GAN freaks her out. She expresses reservations about Katie and this doll. And in the meantime, they're also demanding that Katie needs to go to school. I mean, because obviously Gemma can't homeschool her. Katie doesn't want to do that. So there's some problems there, because you've seen a lot of changes in Katie as well. Very angry, very violent. So she does convince her to go to that school, and that's where we see Brendan. Now, Brendan and Katie are assigned to go off together to gather chestnuts, where this boy is a dick. I mean, like, he is a real dick. And, of course, M3GAN shows up. And I tell you, I didn't know what that dude was going to do. You know, when he grabbed her, it's like my mind went into some dark places, because I'm like, if you've seen the movie, you know, when he throws the doll down on the ground and starts slapping it and takes her shoes off and all, I thought, is he fixing to do something ugly? Like, I didn't know that was in this movie. And who knows, maybe he was, you know, and then he climbs down there on her, and I'm like, oh my God, is this fixing to get, like, ultra creepy? But M3GAN, like, scares him, comes to, grabs him by the ear and rips his ear off. And that's one of the scenes that was put back into the R-rated, was more of that. Because that was a nice kill. And then she starts chasing him, and I like her little, you know, like, one-liners, you know? Like, this is the part where you run. And he takes off running. Yeah, I would have been running. But he ends up falling down a hill and getting hit by a car, which I didn't see that. I didn't know it was going to be quite that extreme. So he gets hit by the car. That night also, M3GAN has just she's just went full Chucky, right? And she kills the neighbor lady ugly next door. So the cops, of course, are like, you've been around 2 incidents. I mean, I'm not saying they're connected, but what I'm saying is, I'm just letting you know that what was first ruled an accident about that boy at the park, we are now classified as a probable murder, because we found his ear ripped off in the woods, which had nothing to do with getting hit by the car. It's like, where's the dude's ear? I don't know. They find it 100 yards away. So, yeah. So, when Gemma hears this, she herself, right, is sort of like, I don't know, is something wrong here? And so she ends up kind of like trying to test it out, and she ends up taking it back to the lab, and that was a very tense little scene. And she tells the team about what she suspects, and that, you know, they need her to stay there. We then see like news reports about this upcoming big reveal where they're going to announce this new toy. And $10,000 is what they're going to want for a M3GAN, which I guess rich people would pay for. So they all agree that regardless of when and where they can prove this, something's going wrong, and they're going to have to cancel the launch of this thing. So what is that? Oh, Katie. Yeah, okay. So they're going to cancel this reveal. but David doesn't know it yet. Now, during the little fight after Gemma and Katie end up fighting, and Katie like knocks the shit out of her, which, okay. So, y'all need to, me and Katie are going home. Y'all need to keep M3GAN here. So, they go home, and Gemma does a real good job, in my opinion, of trying to explain what's going on. And I think Katie even understands that, the stuff that she was saying about how something is wrong. You've got to let me figure it out. And it doesn't matter anyway, because you need to deal with the death of your parents without this crutch anyway. But, and Katie does seem to understand that. Now, while they go home, little M3GAN decides, it's like flashbacks to Child's Play 3 and that, toy factory, or in the, So, Katie ends up like hanging the guy, was it Cole? She ends up hanging him. Jess does manage to get him down before it does. She starts a fire. She runs out. She's starting to get away, and then she runs into David. And that was a creepy scene when she did that little dance. And then got the paper slicer and came after him. She ends up gutting him very well. That's another extended scene that was put back in the unrated. And tells him, and she does this right in front of Kurt, who tries to get the fuck away. That was a creepy scene. I liked that scene because she told him, "Well, I didn't kill anybody. You did, because I know what you did. I know you took the specs, corporate thievery, and you then killed him, and then killed yourself." And then she cuts his throat. And that's also more seconds that were put back to make those kills good kills. And they were. David's kill was good. Kurt's kill was good. Brendan's was great. So, I know a lot of people are disappointed that they didn't, add 10 minutes. That's not usually the way it works. They usually don't have to cut out that much, So, now that they're dead, Gemma gets the shit scared out of her when M3GAN shows up back at the house. And so, yeah, she escapes the building, and at home, she confronts Gemma, and big whoop, I kill people. I really liked it, when you killed people, and she's like, "Oh, big whoop." And I'm like, that's good. That was something right there. They get into a big fight. Jim manages, and that was like a really good scene. Gemma manages to get water onto her head, and it like messes her up, and that was some freaky walking she did. You have the big showdown in the garage when Katie then walks in, and you think for a second that Katie is on M3GAN's side, but that talk that they had really did sink through. So Katie actually plays against her, and like she knows she can read her emotions. So M3GAN doesn't trust her as long as her like guilt and fear and all of that is up here. But so Katie like really calms down and literally fools this AI because the trust quotient goes up to the top. So M3GAN actually trusts her, and instead she pulls out the control gloves for that other robot, Bruce, and then she uses that robot to fight M3GAN. That was some good scenes. That was a really good fight. Rips her in half. The bottom half comes after them. Comes after Katie, but Gemma distracts, so she's about to kill Gemma when all of a sudden, who was it? Katie? Rips her in half. The bottom half goes after Katie. Or the top half goes after Katie. Okay. So, the top half's got Katie down and is about to take her out when it's got Gemma down, and then Katie comes in and stabs the brain. And that's how this version of M3GAN is killed. I got confused there between them two and the big fight. So they think they're all safe. The cops show up. We get to see that Jess and Cole is safe after his near hanging experience. And then as they walk out the door to go to the cops, you see her Alexa type device. She calls it something different, but we all know that it's Alexa. So the Alexa type device, which she had said something about earlier, because Alexa had asked her, did she feel okay? And Alexa's not programmed to ask her that. So that is brought back up in the final scene, because even though M3GAN is supposedly dead and they're safe, that Alexa device comes on and turns around and is looking at them as they walk away. And that's how the movie ends, which I guess will show where M3GAN 2.0 is going to come in, which should be interesting. Now, to the movie itself, I liked it. It's like a 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this movie. I do believe that, it can't touch Chucky. They didn't even bother this kind of crap. I'm so tired. I understand these studios. That's why I fully support the writer's strike right now. Hopefully it'll shut down some of these stupid streaming services. But I totally believe in that strike, the writer's strike that's going on right now. And somebody needs, these streaming services, everybody knows, if you watch my channel, I don't like them. I don't like what they've done to the industry. And if you don't believe that they're doing something bad to this industry, there's a fucking writer's strike going on right now because of all of the shit they're pulling. This industry. Writers not getting paid, all of these different shows and all the little tricks that they use not to pay them, decreased episodes in a series, making spin-offs instead of a long running so it doesn't hit the syndication mark, causing them to have to pay money to the writers. There's a lot of tricks. If you don't know about it, you need to go study the writer's strike. Why are they doing it? And what are these tricks that these people are using that's causing this? There you go. So, this crap with the community, the industry wanting to feed 13-year-olds horror movies and not giving us real horror and instead giving this neutered 13-year-old horror and cutting out all the good stuff to get it a PG-13 rating. It's just fucking greed. It's hurting the art form. It's taking away the potential, because does M3GAN have the potential to stand up with Chucky? Yeah, the potential is there. I mean, I love the new. She was just cool looking, and can she pull off the one-liners? Can she pull off the stuff? There was a lot more cussing in the unrated. A bunch of F-bombs were put back in it. But could she stand up against 10 out of 10 Chuckies? Because everybody knows I absolutely adore Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, with 3 being my favorite, so take that. And they never even attempted to think of trying to make Chucky PG-13. So I do see wasted potential here because M3GAN could have been a badass hard R movie and ranked right up with Chucky. Because what little writing, what little one-liners that was in there that was allowed to stay were great. You know, this little animatronic was evil as fuck. This little android could look evil, you know. And this is the time when you run. So, yeah, it's wasted potential, but that's okay. I mean, well, it's not okay, but you know what I mean. We have to take what we're fed. And I really did like M3GAN. It could have been so much better if they had made it a hard R and put her on the same level with Chucky. And as we saw from the remake of Child's Play, they can do it android style. They don't have to have a demon. It doesn't have to be a serial killer demon. I don't want another Chucky. I just said it could be on the same level as Chucky if they had made it rated R and approached it as a rated R movie. So don't get me wrong, I love this movie. I knew I would. I bought it sight unseen, and I was not disappointed at all. I watched it a few hours ago for the first time, and I think it's great. Tell me what you think about it. Do you think it should have been approached as a rated R adult horror movie? I know I certainly wish it had been. And I do believe that it could have stood side by side with Chucky in my horror pantheon if they had just, not tried to get 13-year-olds in the theater, You want 13-year-olds I don't understand that anyway. You want 13-year-olds in the theater watching people getting murdered, but you don't want them to see them getting murdered. You just want them to know that they were murdered. So you want to murder them off screen. Like, I'm fisting to stab you 32 times. Okay, I stabbed you 32 times. See the dead body? But they don't want to show you. So they don't mind the 13-year-old knowing that the person was stabbed 32 times. They just don't want them to see it. I hate to tell you, as a criminal psychologist, knowing it and seeing it is the same fucking thing, okay? You're still introducing the idea into the 13-year-old, whether you actually show them going or not. You're still telling them, this is the scene, this is the action, this is what they do. They stab that fucker 40 times. We just didn't show you them stabbing 40 times. It's stupid. It's stupid. And it's not psychologically that much of a difference. So basically what I'm saying is a 13-year-old should not be watching that kind of movie. Unless you're okay with it. If you're okay with it, then it's okay. That's what I'm saying. If you're okay with a 13-year-old watching a horror movie where somebody gets stabbed 17 times, then there is no difference in you letting them see the person get stabbed 17 times. It's not psychologically different because you don't let them see it. That's just a fact. I'm sorry. And enough about me and my PG-13. I just feel sad about it because I think that this would have been a 1.5 higher if it had had more kills, more adult kills. Because David's kill, Kurt's kill, Brandon's kill were fantastic. The movie made me jump. The movie had me tense. The movie had me on the edge of my seat. I loved it, but it could have been a better experience had it been for me, a horror fan, an adult horror fan, instead of cut up and played a little safe to get 13-year-olds in the theater. Love you, miss you, bye. Always remember, never forget, you're a very special person. Don't let anyone ever tell you differently. And I will be back with another and soon. Keep rocking very hard. and only scream when appropriate. Like when your Furby starts eating your throat out while you're asleep. I've taught them some really cool words too. Love you, miss you, bye. See you in the next one. Bye-bye. And that was called Hitting the Wrong Button.